broadcasting live from the Gruul Guildgate, and the Gruul Guildgate in particular, that is just the gate. No other one.
Just the door.
Just the door. Look, the law said we have to have a gate, and we built a gate. We don't see what the problem is.
I love
so good.
I love Gruul so much.
Like just the level of malicious compliance here.
Yeah, it's like we have a door, like we have the thing.
Yeah, it's like, and you know, there's like a law mage who's like, no, look, it has to. There's a lot implicit when we said a gate, like usually a wall or a structure of some kind.
Is a wall?
Yeah, gate.
Yeah.
Is gate. We built a gate. We don't see the problem. Hello, I'm Cameron.
I'm Ben.
I'm Nelson.
And we're here to rap at you about Ravnica spoilers.
We've already spoiled one card. You probably knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could kind of like
But you
all
didn't-
see this one, this Chase reprint coming.
You didn't know the art direction was going to be so killer.
Yeah, kudos. Kudos. Well, I suppose we should bring up the fact that Tap Tap Concede is brought to you by you, the viewer, over at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Way to go, you did this.
You did this?
You know what you did.
Yeah.
I did this.
If it wasn't for your very kind support of us through Patreon, we would not be able to keep the lights on and pay for our lovely and insightful hosts.
We know what you did too.
Way to go. And it is also brought to you by the very generous people over at cardkingdom.com. Cardkingdom.com. We have been given guidelines on what their motto is.
That's the best way to put it.
We actually haven't. They're very, they enjoy our goofs.
Yes. That's what happens, I guess, when you have friends that work there.
Yeah, they give you a bit of stick about it, and we return. So if you go to cardkingdom.com/LRR, that enters our affiliate code, and it lets them know that we sent you. They're a great place to go for all of your Magic singles needs if you live anywhere in the world, or if you live in the United States, you can get like sealed product through them as well. And yeah, their shipping is notoriously fast now, although that may be modified by your local postal service, but it's very rare that they don't get it out the door same day.
And if you even want like a sealed-ish product, you can probably get outside the States their sweet battle decks, which are kind of like they've taken a bunch of they've made lists for the singles that they do have and turned them into decks. And they also even recently made a draft set. And if you search Lumeria Draft LRR on YouTube probably or on our site, then you can watch us have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, we goofed around with the battle decks at Desert Bus this year.
And you can
yeah, they're really fun. I like the Enchantress one. It was pretty sweet.
I just love that they're doing it. I really like dual decks.
Oh yeah.
But those should be available outside the States, I would think. 'Cause they're
Yes,
not
I would think so,
officially
yeah.
sealed,
Think so,
even
yeah.
though they're like sealed. Yeah.
Also, if you're in Seattle, please consider checking out their brick and mortar stores. Cardkingdom.com and Mock Sporting House are kind of like the place that you would open if you could open a Magic store.
Basically.
Like they've got a great cafe, and they pull a decent shot of espresso, and it's a clean and well lit place to storm out. So
We found the motto after all.
Clean and well lit place to storm
That's
out.
Cam's favorite motto for
Yeah.
I like
Card
that.
Kingdom Easy. Yeah.
Well, shall we move on then?
Time to crack a pack?
Yeah, the supporters have been thanked. The intros have been done.
Yes. Yeah.
Roll that dice, Ben. Goodbye.
And
You can
it's
see it.
16.
Okay, 1, 2.
I like this
3,
new
4,
box. I haven't seen
5,
this yet.
6.
Yeah?
I think the past couple ones I've been on, it's been Portal 3, so. Hell yeah,
Masters 25. Yes, this box was very generously gifted to us by a fan and supporter who was sick and tired of us opening and keeping our cards in a dilapidated cardboard box.
Which works fine, by the way. We
Yeah, it's
still have it
still
right off the bat.
perfectly
So
good, as my
there.
dad would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
Very nice.
fantastic. All right, so we opened a pack of Masters 25 that was given to us at PAX Aus 2018 by Fen Hickson.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
Thankson.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right.
And I assume I probably met you at PAX Oz, so it was good to see you.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we got here. All right.
Starting off.
Vampire Lacerator.
Yeah. Mono black aggro. Love it.
Yep, this was from Zendikar, as the watermark shows. But yeah, I remember this kind of being a hammering early on.
Oh yeah, it's good in draft. It's good in constructed. It was a staple of the black-red vampires deck in standard, which wasn't usually tier 1, but like did some things and was
Yeah,
like
it
a
was-
very solid tier 2 deck. Like,
Yeah,
it
it
was a good aggro deck.
It was like an aggro deck that finished with a combo, right?
Right. You could get your you could play Calastria Highborn after Worldway came out, and then like sacrifice your Bloodghast to something.
Yeah, and then
Right.
just like
Viscera
getting it
Seer
back,
probably. Yeah, you could play Viscera Seer, and you could.
It
put
could
mana
get
to
there
drain
like
your
that.
opponent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or you could just play Malak or Blood Witch.
yeah, that also killed people.
One card combo.
Mog Flunkies, everyone's favorite 3/3s for 2. Can't attack or block alone, but that could also be another Mog Flunky, as depicted in the art.
Yeah.
Whoa, mind blown. These hit people good. White Mane Lion, 1 and a white for a creature cat, is a 2/2 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand.
Pretty
So,
fun draft card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of blink strategies or save your guy. Yeah.
Elvish Aberration for 5 and a green. You get a
right.
4/5 elf mutant. It taps to add 3 green to your mana pool, and it has 4 cycling for 2.
I remember the cool thing about this set was Elvish Aberration has a similar art to Fierce Empath.
I don't know if it makes a panel. It
I
might.
don't know
think
if
it's
it
just
does.
the same artist did both of them.
Yeah, but like, so what's interesting is like, yeah, because Fierce Empath can fetch for Elvish Aberration if you wanted to, but it's kind of like it like
Oh, yeah.
turns into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what you
they're
want to
friends,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, or they're
Yeah, I
buddies,
like
yeah.
that.
This card's pretty terrible, though. I like that it's
Hmm.
an elf, and it's a neat part of a cycle. It forest cycles, which is great, and then it does some other things when you have enough mana. But it's kind of like if you took everything you love about Primeval Titan, and then you split it into some different parts. So you can
Yeah.
either attack for a bit, or you can make mana, but you can't just kind of do both.
Yeah, I feel as Ben Wheeler is fond of saying, all you need to do is get to 6 mana, then you can start ramping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next up, the always controversial Brainstorm. This art. Brainstorm's an instant, 1 blue, classic. Draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. That does not have to be from the 3 cards that you just drew.
Listen, you asked me to draw a Brainstorm.
The
I
art
don't-
direction was very clear.
I don't know what the hell you wanted from me.
Yeah. And if you haven't had children yet, you can like just look at the anguish and pain that is on this cloud's face and just know that sometimes you feel a little bit like that.
It's 3 in the morning and they're wide awake.
Yeah, exactly. You just want to puke out a bunch of lightning bolts.
Self-Assembler.
Oh, yeah.
5 mana artifact, creature, assembly worker for a 4/4. When a self-assembler enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an assembly worker creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Was Mishra's Workshop in this? No.
No, this is from in Match
set?
25.
I think it is, however.
For the subtype is not.
Yeah, Mishra's Workshop doesn't have a creature type. It's not a tribal land. I don't know if they ever made any of those. I don't know if there are any tribal lands.
I thought it activated as an assembly worker.
It totally becomes as assembly
Right,
worker,
but it doesn't
you
have the
can't-
subtype.
You can't go find your Mishra's Factory with your self-assembler, unfortunately, just to the way the
the
rules
saddest
work.
face.
Yeah,
I went
exactly.
up
The lore
against-
sometimes loses to the magic rules.
I went up against somebody in the Kaladesh. Is this Kaladesh or
Yep.
Aetherwolf?
It's from
Yeah,
Kaladesh, yeah.
The symbols look very similar. That had 4 of these in their pre-release pool. And it's just like, it's not like tremendously powerful, but at around turn 5 and whatnot, and when you're just dropping a bunch of 4/4s every turn, it just sort of became this wall that was very hard to get through.
Yeah, no, it's a real card. Draft 3 or 4 of them, and it's a reasonable strategy. I really like how Self-Assembler fit into the Kaladesh limited environment, where it was like, okay, they've got this kind of Squadron Hawk package in their deck that gives them some late game momentum for sure, but it definitely wasn't unfair. Like, it wasn't as good as having 3 free trains in your deck.
Yeah.
Right, or even the Green Tiger,
Right.
the energy payload.
Right, yeah, which one's that? It's like 4 mana 3/3 and that turns to a 5/5? Or
No, it was wasn't it a 6 mana 4/4 that 8 energy to make itself a 6/6?
Right,
with
right.
trample?
Yeah, that's
Riparian Tiger?
Yeah, Riparian Tiger.
Right,
I think,
yeah.
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 But like, yeah, this was also totally fine. Next up,
There's one other assembly where
Yeah, if you're playing... Oh, and they printed it in this set, didn't they?
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
from Time Spiral. Right, so Self-Assembler and Masters 25 can go and get Assembly Worker from Time Spiral. Which is sweet.
Next up, we have Arbor Elf.
First pick.
Yep. Untap target forest. For 1 mana, you get a 1/1 Elf Druid with 1 line of text. Untap target forest.
It's a good-looking Arbor Elf right there.
Windmill Slam for me.
Chandra's Outrage. 2 and 2 red for an instant. Chandra's Outrage deals 4 damage to target creature and 2 damage to that creature's controller.
This does everything I want in a red removal spell.
Including cost 4 mana.
It's
It's a fine
at
play.
instant speed.
You're always happy to play this card in Limited, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it does what you need it to do. Nile Spellbomb. A 1 mana artifact. Sacrifice or tap and sacrifice Nile Spellbomb. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. When Nile Spellbomb is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay 1 black mana. If you do, draw a card. I was really glad this wasn't in Ultimate Masters.
I mean, it would just. This is a direct host to like half of the
Dredge.
strategies.
Yeah.
In that. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what the debate was around, like, in Ultimate Masters, not having a card that just hoses graveyards.
Yeah, like
right.
they had like corner case cards that could deal with it. Like I think one of the easiest ones was like Heap Dull.
Yeah,
Right.
and there was also the Orsov card from the previous Ravnica block that blew something out of a graveyard and gave you a spirit.
Oh,
Right.
Beckoning Apparition.
Yeah, Beck and Apparition.
I think that
yeah.
actually is from Eventide, isn't it?
Oh, it might be. Yeah,
originally
right. Yeah,
from
because it had the
Eventide.
wispy
Yeah.
spirit.
Because it was one of
But
the.
this just nukes a whole graveyard like Tormod's Crypt. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, oh well, okay, I guess I lose this match.
I think like having like your Grave Troll and your Life from the Loam and all that just taken away from you.
Womp womp. Bloodhunter Bat. For 3 and a black, you get a 2/2 bat. It has flying. When Bloodhunter Bat enters the battlefield, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Decent little momentum swing.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Fine role player. It's not as good as the Arbor Elf or the Challenger's Outrage, I don't think. But yeah, solid role player.
Swiftfoot Boots.
Whoa! I forgot that was in this set.
Yeah, an important get for commander players, I think, because wasn't this one creeping up there?
No.
No?
No, they
it's
kept
been
putting it in all the
reprinted.
commander
Lightning
sets.
Greaves is
Right.
The original
the
one is
Yeah.
still probably worth a buck or two, but Swiftfoot Boots, they managed to pump them up.
Okay.
I experienced some emotions regarding Swiftfoot Boots while I was at GP Vancouver,
Oh, okay.
Really?
where somebody equipped the boots to Audric,
Okay.
who
Spy Master of Trust?
no.
sorry.
The keyword soup white creature isn't Audric.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Audric or whatever.
Audric, yeah.
Attacking is like impossible for your opponent, and you get to make them all block.
Well,
That
they
one?
share all their keywords.
He
Oh.
gives keywords to everybody.
Okay.
So maybe it's not odd. It's
No, it probably is
it's-
Audric.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, this gentleman.
one.
And like if you put the boots on it at combat, he gives everything haste and hexproof with just the boots.
Those are pretty
right?
good. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and that was tough to deal with.
I can imagine. Well, I mean,
Are
for
you
a
playing
little while-
Modern or what?
This was Commander.
Oh, Commander. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Nice.
Next up. Hey,
Ooh.
Zulaport Cutthroat, you're not quite as good a blood artist, but you have 1 power. For
Yeah.
1 and a black, you get a human rogue ally. It's a 1/1. Whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
Is Blood Artist just any creature?
Any creature.
Wow.
But has 0 power.
Same as Hissing Iguana.
But the difference between those two cards, functionally, when you're going to play Constructed, is pretty
Yeah.
low, right? Like the
Yeah.
plan is to kill your own creatures, so it fits in pretty well. Yeah.
But yeah, no, a fine card. Happy to
Absolutely.
see this reprinted in the set,
Yeah.
just because of what it implies about the limited environment. Iwamari of the Open Fist, 2 and 2 green. You get a 5/5 human monk with trample. All right. When Iwamari of the Open Fist enters the battlefield, each opponent may put a legendary creature card from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Record scratch. There were some other larger legendary creatures in this set. this is a bit scary, but I mean, 5/5 for 4 is not bad. I mean, I guess you try to make your opponent have
Like,
it.
you probably play it like it's not as immediately scary as like drafting like show and tell and cube,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
which
in-
is always
in
a
this
trap.
format. There's gonna be a lot of really good open fists
Yeah.
where they miss or their legendary creature doesn't matter as much as Iwamori. But
Yeah.
these kind of gamble cards are great, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, pretty reasonable reward, but possibly catastrophic failure. Like like Dark
Yeah, you're
Confront
like-
revealing your Gurmag Angler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Iwamori, opponent, Emrakul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Can't quite trample through that.
Yeah,
Reveals Emrakul and 1 land in hand. Right? Like,
he's just like, I know I said that I would like challenge anybody to a fist fight.
Yeah.
I realize now that I misspoke.
This was a mistake.
This was a mistake. I would like to leave now, please.
yes. Iwamori just looks at Emrakul and is like, turns out I have no honor.
Yeah.
Turns around, leaves. Have fun. Next
Luck
up,
Planeswalker. Ooh.
Strionic Resonator. The tutor card, in that it taught how mechanics worked. Strionic Resonator is a 2-mana artifact with an activated ability for 2 generic mana and tap. Copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Nelson, what's a triggered ability?
Well, Cameron, a triggered ability is one of the types of abilities, and it's always worded with the word when or whenever or if or at the beginning of or at.
Okay.
So triggered abilities look for a condition to happen. Sometimes it's just the beginning of a step or a new step happening, or someone taking a game action like untapping or attacking or gaining
Right.
life or drawing cards, etc. And whenever their trigger condition is met, they go on the stack. And that's when you get to use their abilities. So
Sorry, just the way you started, like the explanation where you're like,
Triggered
it's a type of
ability
ability,
is a type of
and I was
ability,
like,
and I'm
that
like,
happens.
it's like
that
the
is
grade
activated
9
in
book
trigger,
report. Yeah.
or something like that. I was like, hell yeah, that's the best way to sass back the host.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the best way
Just
would have
wanna
been
be
like,
clear,
hey,
yeah.
Nelson, what's a triggered ability? It's like, you don't know what a triggered ability is? That would have been like the best way to just like,
well, I'm sure it's probably someone watching who doesn't know what a triggered ability
Yeah, no,
is.
no,
So why-
no,
yeah,
no,
just a
yeah,
little bit helpful to
absolutely
them
is what you
while
should do.
also
I
Yeah.
mean, like this card was
rubbing
actually
your
kind
face
of
in the dirt, right? Yeah.
reasonably, like a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people like this in M14. I don't think it was particularly good, but people were like, oh, this is an interesting way to teach players what certain
Yeah.
things are.
So for the purposes of this card, does the ability have to actually have been triggered for this card to do its thing?
Yeah.
So if it's like when a creature comes into play, whatever, sacrifices something,
Right.
you can't just like activate the Strionic Resonator and make somebody sacrifice something.
Well-
You have to actually do it when that trigger is on the stack.
Well,
Yes.
let's look at what's in this pack, for example. So, Strionic Resonator. What other triggered abilities do we have in this pack alone? Iwamori.
Yep.
Got the word
So,
when.
You go.
yeah, it has the word when. This
you
is probably
want-
not one that you want to copy.
If you want, you can let them put Emrakul and Kozilek into play.
Yep.
For 2 more mana.
Zulaport
Ooh.
Cutthroat.
Not a
Yep.
bad one.
This is not a bad ability to trigger twice.
Yeah.
Bloodhunter Bat.
Excellent.
A fine use for 2 mana.
Now that's Zulaport so far is the only one that's not happening when an extra battlefield. Oh, this is you missed
Oh
one.
yeah,
You missed one.
yeah. When you could copy Nile Spellbombs, death trigger.
That's right. So pay 2 more mana, draw extra card. That's a pretty good deal.
So in all these situations, what you're doing is you are waiting
This
for
is
the
one, but
ability to
maybe
go
doesn't
on the
matter.
stack.
That's right. Yeah. So whenever it's on the stack, you can copy it with the Strionic Resonator.
Right. So you're copying it off the stack, not off the card, I guess, is the
Yeah. The Resonator targets an ability. There's one.
Yeah.
So about half our cards, and actually Vampire Lacerator is also one.
You could
Yeah.
One
copy
as
that
well.
one.
Yeah.
You could copy it if you needed to.
I think I windmill slam the Arbor Elf.
I think I've got. Oh no, it's so. Oh wait,
We got one more.
We have
We've
a
got
foil.
Of course we do.
Right.
Ooh.
Dauntless Cathar in
Good
foil.
card.
Yeah, 3/2, representing Shadows of Innistrad for 3 mana, 2 and a white. It has an activated ability for 1 and a white. Exile Dauntless Cathar from your graveyard. Create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery.
There was a bunch of fun cards like this from Shadows that
Yeah.
you like could do something with them from your graveyard.
Like fixed unearthed creatures.
Yeah, it was neat. I really like Shadows.
I may have first
I
picked
thought it
this
was a great
card 'cause
set.
I was really into mono white and shadows for a little while, or blue white, or like tiny splash of any other color, right?
Yep.
Just to try to beat a bunch of these things and a bunch of other regular flyers.
I miss Eldritch Moon.
It's
I thought it was a
been
great
one of my
limited
favorite.
set.
It was one of my favorite standard seasons.
Of course, the problem with this pack is you take this guy and you know you're passing a Nile Spellbone.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
No, I think it's the Arbor Elf or the removal spell, the Zulaport Cutthroat,
Yeah.
or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
like-
think Outrage is better than most of the other cards in the pack. But if you want to first pick Arbor Elf, I could see that being better. It's like the ceiling on Arbor Elf is definitely higher. You could take the Brainstorm. I don't know how good Brainstorm is in Masters 25.
Yeah, I don't know,
It's like
like-
the only blue card in the pack, isn't it?
Yes.
That is true.
Yeah, so you could
options.
signal
Yeah.
if you trust the other people at your pod to read signals.
Or you can just be brave and take that Iwamori. But you probably just want
Yeah.
Arbor Elf more.
Live the life.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's got an
and
angel token.
the Great Angel token from Avacyn Restored. There were no miracles in this set, right? So you didn't even have that possibility of a payout for
Brainstorm?
Brainstorm.
I mean, I don't remember the set super
I'm-
well. It had a
fortunately-
card from almost every set, right?
Yeah.
Or
It
every
did.
set. It had at least one card from every set that came before it. So what was the Avacyn Restored card it played?
No
Is there like
miracles.
Gristlebrand in this set?
Gristlebrand is in
Yeah,
the set.
Okay, there
that
you
would
go.
do it.
Wolfear Silverheart, maybe?
Yeah, there were some interesting ones from this.
Okay, so by the time you're watching this, we're recording it last week, but by the time you're watching this, a lot of Ravnica Allegiance will have been spoiled.
Yes, so probably
Hard
more
segue
things.
away from Gristlebrand.
Yep.
Just
Mhm.
like
You know what?
turned left at a T intersection.
You know what set did not appear in Masters 25?
Oh, there we go.
Ravnica Allegiance. Buttery smooth. All right, we got there,
Found it, we
everyone.
found
Yeah.
it.
So we want to talk about our favorite spoilers that have been spoiled so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to just give a shout out to ourselves in our previous podcast where we mentioned that, like,
Sup,
you know,
me?
we're recording this Thursday, so the Azorius spoiler hasn't been, or the Azorius mechanic hasn't been spoiled yet. We don't know what it is. And then James was just like, and we can't comment on it. And
Oh,
James was like,
I see.
so as an addendum to our conversation here, what I wanted to bring up, and people were like, oh, they knew. And it's like, no, it was just, that's why it's called a coincidence, I guess.
Nice. That's hilarious.
But yeah, it was fun.
Who uses the word addendum in a sentence? Good for
I'm
you,
James,
James.
yeah. I
James
know.
got that
You
big
weirdo.
IQ.
Yeah. Just the casual flex.
Might as well start off with some Azorius cards then.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. Do we want to talk about an addendum card? Like, Precognitive Perception was just spoiled at Rare,
Yeah.
which is for 3 and 2 blue at instant speed, draw 3 cards. However, addendum reads, if you cast the spell during your main phase, instead scry 3, then draw 3 cards.
That's very powerful.
Yeah, that's
Pretty strong.
some decent card selection. And I mean, I feel like addendum just makes Teferi better in Constructed. They
Yeah.
found a way to make Teferi even better. His +1 ability now.
Yeah.
Well, they printed Hallowed Fountain too, right? That makes him a bunch better.
Well, yeah.
I have feelings about
You have feelings. They're not good feelings, are they?
Yeah.
Hey, Magic Arena, you know, all mythic rares are worth the exact same amount, so that's
Yeah.
neat. Everyone can play Teferi. It's fine.
Yay.
Let the world be full of Teferis.
But speaking of Azorius Planeswalkers,
Yeah. there's-
yo, it's Dovin.
Dovin.
That's right.
Dovin, what are you doing on Ravnica? Dovin Bond, Grand Arbiter.
Looking very Azorius like he has the whole time, right? His
Yeah.
skin just that perfect shade of I don't care at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dolphin, man.
How many people do you think are just like, you know, he goes to pay for his drink at Rakdos Bucks,
Yeah.
and people are like, oh, your hand, because Vidalkin from Kaladesh have 6 fingers,
Oh, do they?
but Ravnican Vidalkin don't.
Interesting.
I was looking this up for the D&D game.
Right.
Cameron with a hot lore take.
That's so cool.
Yeah, are people just like, oh, what's wrong with your? Oh, right, you're probably Simic, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, that's fair.
I'm sorry, forget I said anything. I hope I didn't offend you, right? But like, just that.
That's what they say at Rakdos Bucks.
Yeah.
They try to make sure they use all of the correct pronouns.
I
for
mean,
the
like,
various
I'd
sponsors
imagine
that wander
Rakdos
in.
is very like, you know, conscientious of that.
right.
But anyway, for one white and one blue, you get a 3 loyalty planeswalker.
Planeswalkers.
He has 3 abilities. For +1, you get until end of turn, whenever a creature you control deals damage to a target player or to a player, put a loyalty counter on Dovin Grand Arbiter. And as we were saying before the show, this feels a little bit like Gideon's ability
Gideon of
from
Champion of Justice from
Yeah.
Gatecrash.
where it's just like +1, get plus more.
Yep. Make lots of loyalty. That's not an ability I've used much. I think there's only the 2. But I didn't really like Gideon of Champion of Justice. He's kind of fun in Commander if you can manage to protect him because the ultimate is exciting. But Dovin Grand Arbiter, I feel like, is a decent constructed card. One less mana, and then also he's like kind of better at protecting himself than Chad, Champion of Justice, was. Because of his -1, he can create a 1/1 colorless artifact creature token with flying, so many words, and gain life. He can make a dude. He can make a little flying robot to block for him.
I mean, in my arena deck, I've been running Tezzeret.
Okay.
And the M19 Tezzeret, because he makes Thopters and then draws cards based on artifacts. And I'm wondering, maybe do I run Dovin instead, or is coming in at 3 mana is kind of hot.
Why not both mean?
Yeah, why not
right?
both?
Yeah. No, I think this card's pretty cool. I think his abilities are all fair. Like the -7, which you might be able to get the turn after you play him, depending on how your game's going or where you are in the game. You get to look at the top 10 cards of your library, put 3 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So that won't win the game on its own.
No. But I'll get you there.
It's real strong. That's real good.
That's one of the ones where it's like
dig through time plus an extra card and seeing 3 more cards.
Do you remember the first time you let a Sphinx's Revelation resolve?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And you're just like, whatever, this is probably fine.
Well, yeah, this is like a dig through.
It's the end of my turn and you're trying to draw 7 new cards.
Gain 7 life. Sure,
Fine.
whatever.
You're at 22. You know?
It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Right, like, this doesn't win the game, but maybe the game is over at this point.
I mean, Bant Super Friends is already kind of a thing right now. So,
Really, what did they get out of green?
Fog.
Right. Yeah, do it. Yeah.
And then just like random like ramp and stuff like that. Gift of Paradise sees like a lot of play in these sort of archetypes as well. Because on top of the fact that it's, a fixing card, it also gains 3 life.
Yeah.
Which is just good on its own. People are just playing like Revitalize in the current meta too, just because it's just like you get to draw a card, gain 3 life, hoses some burn. So.
Okay, let's talk more about green cards that make mana in their relation to Lavinia Azorius Renegade. So this card seems like it kind of it's got a few things going on. It's a white and a blue for a 2/2 legendary creature, Human Soldier, and it has 2 static abilities. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. So each opponent that you have, however many lands they control, that's the cap on their non-creature spells they can cast. And whenever an opponent casts any spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. So,
like literal fun police, right?
Yeah. So she doesn't stop. What is it? She doesn't stop. Copies of spells that get put on the stack.
But she does prevent the turn 3 Gifts Ungiven from the modern Storm deck.
Yeah, that's right. And in Standard, if you're trying to ramp out with Gifts of Paradise, so say you're playing like the blue-green Taking Turns deck, where you might not have 7 lands in play when you want to start casting Nexus of Fate, because you've put a Gifts of Paradise or 2 on things, or if you the other one you were just saying, the Bant Super Friends.
Yeah,
it plays maybe some expensive planeswalkers before it has that number of lands. So yeah, it might have those targets on, and just any other ways that decks are making mana. She's kind of coming in there and shutting that down.
So I always forget how it works with X-costed spells.
She's also looking out for Llanowar Elves too.
Yeah.
Right?
So like if this,
speaking of green cards that make mana, so
if you crack
Llanowar Elves,
treasures to put a bunch of mana into like Banefire, for example, does that stop that?
Absolutely. Well, it just means you can't cast it. So you're only allowed to cast a Banefire equal to X is equal to 1 less than the number of lands you have.
Yeah, because CMC will be calculated on the stack.
That's right.
Because Banefire is a big win condition for big red.
Right now. Or like the Golgari deck, trying to ramp up to 6 drops. They can still cast Carnage Tyrant, but they can't cast Vraska. 6-mana Vraska.
It only took us 26 years, but we finally have an answer to Channel Fireball.
That's right.
Yay!
It's just fine. We can unban it now. can unban Channel and Fireball.
Because-
Finally.
yeah, because
because Lavinia's around.
Everyone has a Lavinia emblem all the time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that she's sort of. It's like you're going to play fair magic whether you want to or not.
Yeah, or somewhat,
also,
yeah.
we're going to play fair asterisk magic.
Right.
Because whenever anyone says fair magic, they mean the thing my deck does.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like let's all play like Portal basically. Let's all play where we're just bringing out creatures that are of this basically like vanilla.
We're playing limited magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just like let's all bring out fairly costed vanilla creatures and hit each other with
Yeah,
them.
this is my Dowser of Lights, my 4/5 for 5 that are or whatever.
that are right on curve.
Yeah.
She does, of course, die to all removal.
Yes, I also really appreciate that Lavinia still has not clued into the fact that those are Jace holograms.
Yeah.
She's like, this guy doesn't do anything. He just sits here sipping his coffee in exactly the same way for the last 5 years. He doesn't listen. Jace, you have to take your job seriously.
I am Jace, the living guild pact.
Yeah.
I am
Cam?
Jace, the living guild pact.
Any cards that like super excite you?
Well, I wanted to talk about a card that several people have linked me to, which is the new Teysa. Just Teysa Karlov.
She's here from
Yeah.
jail.
Yep. For 2 white-black, you get a legendary human advisor with some lines of flavor text on it. And people have been sending this to me because of its possible interactions with my favorite deck in Highlander, which is an Aristocrats deck. Her text says, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Hey, she's like Strionic Resonator, only for Blood Artist.
Yeah, only
Say,
for
those Blood Artist effects.
creatures die triggers, yeah.
Creature tokens you control have vigilance and lifelink. I think that's the more salient one here. I don't like her in Aristocrat. She's a very win more card, right? Like, in my experience, Aristocrats leans, which is an archetype, if you're not familiar, Aristocrats is a creature-based archetype that depends on having creatures dying and gaining advantage off those creatures dying. So you have things like Blood Artist, Zulaport Cutthroat. And what you need to play are creatures that die well, i.e. creatures that put a token into play when they die. Or
Draw a card.
Yeah, draw a card when they die. You need to have sacrifice outlets so that those creatures can die reliably. And you need to have the Blood Artist effects that gain advantage off them dying. And Teysa doesn't do any of those, really. She helps your existing Blood Artist do what it's doing, but she's only a Blood Artist if you already have one.
What this says to me, is like Aristocrats is an archetype that has thrived without this card.
Yes.
And this card is not going to make or break it. I think like it's not going to be some big change.
I mean,
to the thing,
and I'm totally open to being wrong here. I mean, maybe she just busts it wide open, right? Because if you have 2, correct me if I'm wrong, but both those abilities go on the stack and then Teysa copies them.
if you have
right.
2 of what? Sorry.
If you have 2
Blood
Blood
Artists?
Artists.
Yeah, for sure.
So you would
Yeah.
actually get 4 triggers. Then,
Absolutely.
right?
But,
And I mean, I could definitely see a situation where this runs away from you, especially considering Teysa's also copies Afterlife, if I
For
understand
sure.
correctly.
Yeah, Afterlife is a when dies trigger.
Yep. So
So you get twice as many spirits.
I mean, this could be really, really strong, but it feels win more to me.
I think it's win more.
But
I would rather just put in more copies of the vampire from Ixalan. The
The one that comes back, or sorry, which one?
No, so
There's a
she's
few
the
vampires
myth-
in
yeah,
Ixalan.
she's the mythic. She, she's the aristocrat.
yeah,
I can't remember her name.
no, not Vona.
Sorry.
She's from Rivals.
Let me bring it
Rose.
up.
Some.
All right, so another piece
Alenda,
of the puzzle, right?
the Dusk
Alenda.
Rose.
Yeah,
Alenda
Alenda the
Rose.
Dusk Rose. Yeah.
Because she's a 4-drop for a 1/1 with lifelink, but whenever another creature dies, you put a counter on her, and when she dies, she explodes into a bunch of vampire tokens.
Right. Okay.
I am open to Teysa being good, but right now I'm not sold on her.
I think she's got two homes. One, she's a cool new commander if you want to play Black-White Aristocrats deck.
Right.
Two, maybe because of the copying of Trigger's ability, there's like a style of like Reanimator deck that puts her and some other cards in the graveyard. She's a human, so she can come back to play with like Angel of Glory's Rise, or
Right.
maybe just like just comboing into having her and like two other creatures on the battlefield that forms a loop. I couldn't immediately think of what that loop would be, but since she creates triggers for no mana, maybe there'll be a loop.
Out of curiosity, does this interact with Persist or Undying in any interesting ways? Because my immediate thing was like, hey, does this work with... Yeah, no, okay. So it doesn't cause your Persist creatures to come back with 2/1/1 counters.
No, it puts two persist triggers on the stack,
Instead,
so it's
which
like
does
when
nothing.
when your
Right.
Sphinx dies, it just says persist, and then the first one resolves, and then the second one says, hey, can I bring that Sphinx back? And like even if you then manage to put it back in the graveyard somehow, it's like
still-
no, the
right.
Sphinx I'm looking for is gone. It looks for
Okay, good.
the same
Okay.
object. So neither of those do anything.
That's good.
It's-
But
Speaking of aristocrats, is Judith a thing?
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about her.
Yeah.
She's a real card.
yeah,
Jeez.
I just Judith is just not. It's not a very like fantasy kind of name.
Doesn't
is it?
sound like a
I think
main
it sounds
punk name,
amazing.
does it?
well, I mean, like
for
it's
exactly
very,
what she is. Oh,
it's very biblical.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, Judith the Scourge Diva. For 1 black red, you get a human shaman. She is a 2/2. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Judith the Scourge Diva deals 1 damage to any target.
so I misread that the first
Oh.
time. I buzzed through it and went, oh, she pumps creatures and domes them for 1, like an aristocrat style thing.
no.
Then I reread it and went to any target. And went,
Oh.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Yeah.
No, this card just looks like it's Jitte.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's not that busted, but like this card seems really, really good.
I'm looking forward to hanging out with Judith.
Yeah.
However briefly that is. But yeah, she seems great.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna get banned like it was always Jitte should be in all formats, but yeah, like
I'm
this
so
card, yeah, it's just a no-brainer.
I'm so
Yeah.
into the Rakdos so far. This like I am a Gruul player, but Rakdos looks sweet.
I'm windmill slamming the Rakdos pre-release kits.
Yeah.
Spectacle is a very, very cool.
Yeah, I think Light Up the Stage, it's an older spoiler, but really exciting. I didn't even realize on the first read that you get an extra turn to play the cards. So Light Up the Stage is, it's 2 and a red for, so normal casting cost is 2 generic, 1 red sorcery. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn you may play those cards. So that's just like red divination on
Yeah.
its own until the end of your next turn. So
Well-
it's sorcery played on 1 turn. And even if you reveal 2 lands, as my friend Greg pointed out, you can just play 1 that turn and then play the following one then the following turn.
Yeah, this card is amazing.
Plus it has a spectacle of only 1 red. So if you manage to deal some damage to your opponent, you can then cast, 1 red, draw 2. That's pretty freaking good, as Goblin Electromancer and Chartercourse will tell you. Yeah. Speaking of, maybe you just get to play it in that deck. Maybe it goes
And
in
also,
Phoenix, I
like,
don't know.
this seems really exciting with Experimental Frenzy.
Right. Yeah, because it's a good way to churn away cards at the top of your library that you're maybe stuck on.
Well, like
Or I guess, how does it work? Because you can never cast this from your hand while Frenzy's in play.
But
I
like
mean,
this-
it gives you like extra piles of options.
this is
for
draw
Frenzy
2
in Experimental
yeah,
Frenzy.
in Experimental
Because
Frenzy.
they're not
But
in
it
your
need-
hand.
It needs to be like on
top.
on your main. kind of
Right,
thing.
but this does get around the problem. Like somebody sent me a picture, or I saw a picture of you know the dark Shutterstock. There's a dark Shutterstock image gallery of a little kid holding a pistol, like crying,
Yeah.
and just like looking at the camera, crying, and then like looking away. And it's like when Experimental Frenzy reveals Lava Coil, and you have the only creature on the deck, on the board.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
lava coil it to get it off.
Yeah, and you're just like, I'm sorry, Daddy. Like, Big Brother has to go away for a little while.
Whoa.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got so dark so fast. Anyways, we were talking about Light Up the Stage? Okay.
Yes. It's great.
Okay.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah. Let's talk about more Rakdos cards. My favorite one that we've seen spoiled is Spawn of Mayhem. 2 generic and 2 black. So 2 black for a 4/4 demon with flying and trample.
Flample.
At the beginning of your upkeep, Spawn of Mayhem deals 1 damage to each player. Then, if you have 10 or less life, creature or player who might have just Strionic resonated their own Vampire Lacerator. Oh, got there. If you have 10 or less life, put a +1/+1 counter on Spawn of Mayhem. It has a spectacle cost of 1 black. So if you just manage to play a creature in the first couple turns, attack your opponent, they don't block. On turn 3, you can play a 4/4 flying trample that then keeps hitting them at the beginning of your upkeep.
Like the threat of activation on Spectacle seems really strong. Like it makes blocking so sweaty, right? Like, do you have to keep throwing your creatures under the bus to keep the Spectacle under control?
Right. Yeah, or what's the relative value of your opponent gaining a mana or 2 versus you losing a life or 2? Yeah, it's a fun shell game. We're all going to get to play in a week or 2.
So it is no secret that I love Gruul.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to
This
ask
card's
you
really
then.
good. There's nothing else to say about it.
Yeah,
It's dope as hell.
It's clearly awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about other cards now. Sorry.
Can we talk about like the first big card that was like spoiled for Gruul?
Sure.
Please do.
Gruul Spellbreaker.
Yeah. More really good cards.
Oh, so Gruul's had a couple of cards spoiled by now, and the other ones are okay. But this card is nuts to me. It's 1 red-green for a 3/3 with Gruul's new mechanic, which is Riot. You get a choice of either putting a 1/1 counter when it comes in or haste. So this is kind of like a you get to choose tribute, which is super sweet. It's also got trample, and as long as it's your turn, you and Gruul Spellbreaker have hexproof. So you no longer have to worry about getting Settle the Wreckage while you have a Gruul Spellbreaker on your side of the field.
And if you're playing against the opposite kind of spells that target you, if you're playing against an opposing red deck, they need to decide if they're going to burn you while this is on the stack.
Yeah.
And you might have more than 3 mana up that turn when it comes time to the kind of sort of end of your turn I burn you decisions. You might have more tricks up your sleeve when you cast your Gruul Spellbreaker.
Yeah. It's really interesting too, like at least in like sort of like the red beatdown style deck, the 3-drop slot is obviously dominated kind of right now by Chain Whirler. So I'm kind of interested to see how this slots into that, if it does slot into that same sort of a thing.
Yeah, that's pretty stiff competition.
I don't know if Stomping Ground alone
Is enough
lets you
to
play Chain Whirler in decks where you want to play green cards, right?
Yeah,
Green cards
exactly.
draw. Like, we've seen splashes of red in Chain Whirler decks, right? But I don't know if we've seen
Splashes of green.
Have you seen splashes of green too? Yeah, but have you seen any decks that
Splashes of black?
Yeah, well, there's been a little bit of black in this meta too, and a lot in the last one, right? With Chain Roller decks going into a bit of black at least for sideboard cards.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we've seen a ton of like Land War Elves into Chain Roller for obvious reasons, right? But this guy, kind of competes with that slot and loves Land War Elves, right? He's really easy to cast.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if they'll end up in the same kind of deck. Like, part of me feels like maybe we're getting back into the magical Christmas land of 3-color decks being very easy to have happen right now.
Right.
I think the one, like, obviously there is that already, right? Like, there's Jeskai and there's Esper decks rolling around.
I would expect to see a teamer.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's definitely
And
the set that gives us teamer possibilities, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Teamer or Jund could make a thing in here. Like, it's obviously not going to be as reliable as, say, like wedge decks like in cons, where because you had like fetches and stuff like that. But the having shocks and checks should be good enough to make happen.
For sure. Yeah. No, I think 3-color decks probably are going to be, I would imagine in a better spot than like Chain Whirler 2-color decks.
And then the only other like really exciting or like neat Gruul card that I wanted to talk about was End-Raze Forerunners, which was spoiled today.
Oh yeah, I like that pig.
So we're calling. I've lovingly called this the Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Nice.
Which it's a 5-drop, it's an 8-drop for 5 green for a 7/7 with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. And when it ETBs, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Trample to end up turn.
I like this has vigilance,
Yeah.
as if implying there's going to be another turn after this one.
Well, it's kind of like lets
Right.
you
Yeah.
lets you maybe Crater Hoof in 2 turns because the triggered ability pumping your creatures is noticeably less powerful. Right?
Yes.
Like Crater Hoof math gets pretty scary pretty fast. Like it gets crazy, right? Like you get to 40, 50, 100 power off just some mana dorks and then whoever else you had lying around making tokens or something. But this guy really does need some help to win the game. Like he wants like 4 or 5 attackers along with himself, and then if they have some blockers, they might still be alive. But
Right.
since you have vigilance on everyone and your creatures aren't very likely to die, then hopefully he can kind of get in there real hard and then mop up if need be the following turn.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean,
it's like
like-
I don't think this. I don't know if this will actually see like constructed play and whatnot, but I like the idea. Like Cam and I were talking about just before the podcast went up, is that like a lot of cards that are sort of iconic, like Crater Hoof Behemoth and whatnot. There's also like a Rakdos card that has like a similar feel to like Blightning.
Right.
It's like similar feels to very powerful cards getting reprinted in a way so that they're not like game
breaking,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this standard format has room for a Crater Hoof, but this is going to be a really fun draft card to lose to.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, getting up to the mana cost, of course, is going to be a challenge. But like, I don't see a lot of decks just taking this one and going, all right, my turn, right? Like,
Right. I mean, we've been talking about land wars. It's legal and standard. You can put land rolls into
I
this guy.
don't
Yeah.
see the deck that runs this not having their opponent at 9.
Right,
By the
yeah.
time they're resolving this.
Sure, yeah.
Well, and
Functionally Crater Hoof, probably.
a
right?
very a very real deck right now is green white tokens,
Yeah.
right? Like Convoke style.
And hey, this is a great target for that Gaia's Cradle from Ixalan.
Yeah.
If you want to try and mess around with that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, like some green-white tokens deck that runs is just making knights until it starts making angels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well, yeah. And speaking of this, you're going to see this velvety smooth segue.
Yeah.
Speaking of cards that will slowly get you up to higher converted mana cost creatures, we talk about Prime Speaker Vannifar.
Of course
oh
we should.
yeah,
Well
Yeah.
done. Well done.
yeah.
So they reprinted.
I'm still learning about transitions, everyone. Yeah.
They reprinted Breeding Pod.
Birthing Pod.
Birthing
Birthing
Pod.
Pod. You had it.
Breeding Pool, Birthing Pod. Yeah. In a more fair way.
In that she dies to removal.
Yes. Prime Speaker Vannifar is 2 green-blue for a 2/4.
Oh, 4 toughness. I didn't
Yeah.
even notice that the first time. Okay.
For a legendary creature, Elf Ooze Wizard.
That's right.
Slime Girl. You could tap
Yeah,
her.
there's some cosplay coming up.
Yeah. Watch out.
You can tap her
Get
to
your turquoise body paint.
Yeah, to sacrifice another creature to search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card into the battlefield and shuffle your library. I didn't actually see that last clause. You can only do it anytime.
I mean, that
That's
was Birthing
true.
Pod.
Birthing
That
Pod
is,
is
yeah,
actually the exact same. Well, it says sacrifice a creature.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's the same wording.
So she can't sack herself.
That's right.
Fair.
Doesn't have haste,
Doesn't have haste.
unlike Birthing Pod.
Yeah.
Costs the same mana as Birthing Pod, plus you gain 2 life, kind of, and then future activations are cheaper.
I mean, Saffron Olive already tweeted a combo with this, with the dinosaur with the enrage trigger
Okay.
that untaps a creature,
right.
and then the Forerunner, the red
Okay.
Forerunner that when
Deals
a creature
damage to
enters,
everything?
yeah,
Yeah.
deals damage to everything.
okay, so you can go off the turn after you play this.
I mean, if your opponent lets you stick a Vannifar, if you untap with Vannifar, then your opponent's probably in for a rough time.
Right.
Yeah, like
Cool.
based on a lot of the Simic cards that have sort of been getting spoiled, it seems just like a Simic sort of tempo or kind of thing could be real, or like even just like a ramp style thing. Like
Yeah, if we want to talk about more ramp cards, why don't we jump into the best card that's been spoiled in the set so far?
Oh, yeah?
Probably also with the best art, Growth Spiral.
Yeah.
1 blue and 1 green with this
Yeah.
incredible picture by Seb McKinnon.
Yeah, Seb McKinnon has just been. You can really see that his art has been let off the leash,
Yeah.
right, in the last several sets.
Yeah, he's taking Magic art to a wild and fantastical place. All the art in the whole set is beautiful, though. By the
Yes.
way, if any artists are watching this,
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
send it
yes.
in. Yeah, your art is also fantastic. Thank you. But Growth Spiral, 1 blue, 1 green for instant. Draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand out of the battlefield. So you might recognize that text. It's Explore. Normally, you have to do this at sorcery speed.
Paul?
What's wrong?
I needed to sneeze.
Okay.
Sorry, no, it's gone. It's inside my head now somewhere.
That's not getting edited out.
Yeah, no. We'll let that one ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
But you can do this at instant speed.
Instant speed. Yeah.
So and it's a common.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's exciting.
So this is
I mean-
obviously great for Nexus of Fate decks.
Yes, this also helps them navigate Lavinia.
Yeah,
I
for
guess,
sure. If that's
right?
yeah, just cut your Gifts of Paradise and put these in and a couple more lands. I don't know, but it can also play well with any decks that are trying to get up to like 6 and 8 mana.
And still you get to draw the card first.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of nice. Like if you're just trying to bank on
For
drawing
sure.
into a land or something.
Yeah, I mean it always cycles at end of turn.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it gets an extra mana. And I mean, it might also you're going to play a main phase sometimes just because the card you draw might be more gas that you want to play.
How many of these
later
do you
game.
want in foil?
I think it's actually some kind of promo.
Is
You
it?
can get it as a promo, I
Sweet.
believe.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh.
can't remember which
Well, that's awfully compelling.
which one, which event gets you that promo, but I think it's there.
I'm just really excited because the set seems to have a lot of really interesting and powerful cards in it. How it will shake up Standard, which
Well, I think this card will get played. Yeah.
Standard's quite healthy right now, or
It's so
feels quite healthy. Yeah,
it
there
is.
you
What is
go.
it? Is it just F&M? Maybe it's F&M.
Give me a playset of those.
Yeah.
It just says it's a promo. I don't know.
Sure.
Mama.
Can't quite read the bottom of that one.
And Nelson, you want to talk
I
about
get a
Sphinx
couple
of
more,
Foresight?
interesting and powerful cards. Okay, so we had a Sphinx that did some cycling stuff in Amonkhet, and it got a bit of play. It was a good card to put into your graveyard to bring back with God Pharaoh's Gift. So they've taken the same formula for like a reasonable costed blue flyer. 2 generic and 2 blue for 4/4 flying.
What's
So
it
that's
called?
like, it's called Sphinx of Foresight. It's not a guild watermarked card, although, yeah, and it doesn't really feel like one. It's just a blue card. It has 2 other abilities besides the flying, but you've got a solid card you don't mind putting in your deck, a 4/4 flyer for 4. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. So while this is in play, it just does, the sweet Thassa thing, where you just get to control your draw a little bit. Also, you may reveal this card from your opening hand if you do scry 3 at the beginning of your first upkeep. So this is a free effect, it's a no mana effect that you only get is in your opening hand.
Like the Chancellors. from
Yeah, exactly.
Phyrexia.
Like the Chancers or like Serum Powders.
Or
Not a
the
lot
ley
of different
lines.
effects like that. Ley lines, exactly. They're usually pretty sparing with this kind of effect. And because, it's an ability that you get for no mana, it's always pretty exciting. Like maybe it'll be really great. So this card smacks to me of like potential powerful staple.
How many one-landers are you personally going to keep with Sphinx of Foresight in your
I
opening
mean, why
hand?
would you bother asking me how many one-landers when you could have asked me how many
No-landers?
Oh, yeah.
Because let me tell you, if there are
I'll
2
ride that
Sphinx of
Sphinx all
Foresights
the way to
in-
0-3.
There's 2 Sphinxes of Foresight in my opening hand. I don't think it matters what the other 5 cards are. They can all be lands. None of them can be lands. They can all be that pig that costs 8 mana.
Do you do that just to like totally, next level them? Do you do this on the play with no land? You're just like, go to cleanup step.
No, I look forward to losing to the Sphinx, whether it's on my side of the battlefield or the other. It's going to be a really good time.
That's the real galaxy brain. We should chop that up.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Coming to Allure Twitter.
And I guess this happens after your Vancouver Mulligan if you
That's
we're going down to 6 cards.
Yes, yeah. You mulligan first, and then you reveal Chancellors and Ley Lines. It's at the very beginning of the game, whereas the mulligan is actually a part of pre-game procedure. In case you're curious.
And then there was one other card that I know you
I think
were.
we all wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pestilent Spirit.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yeah, sure. And then it's 2 generic for a black. This is another pretty exciting, kind of powerful card. 2 generic and a black for a 3/2. Decent stats already. With Menace, okay. And Death Touch. That's right there. It's like kind of in the realm of the sort of amount that Vampire Nighthawk gets pushed. Like lots of abilities and decent stats. one more ability. Instant and sorcery spells you control have Death Touch. So I don't know what all the possibilities are for just inside black, but certainly with red, like Shock is in standard.
Yeah.
So now Shock kills any creature.
How about Cosmo Wave?
Yeah,
wow!
Cosmo Wave, 4
Cosmo
mana.
Wave, kill all their creatures. Thank you.
Also,
Okay,
those
or
creatures can't
Radiant
block.
Lightning.
yeah. They're dead and they can't block.
Clarion,
Yeah.
like
Clarion gets all creatures though, right? Whereas like this
Oh,
card
right.
really wants you to have
one,
Electricity to be
yeah.
able to just like deal 1 as cheaply as possible to all of their creatures. So 4 is not that bad. I mean,
I think the problem with this
at
is
least you can
that
threaten to play this on 3 and that on 4.
is that you want to actually just play good cards.
Yeah,
too, right? Like,
Cosmotronic Wave, House and Draft maybe. Not,
Yeah.
not a
Yeah,
real
yeah.
constructed card.
but like Forked Bolt analogs, I think are quite good because there is the one from Ixalan, right?
yeah, there's just 2 mana, deal 1 to each of 2
Yep.
creatures. Forked Volley or something.
Yeah,
there's some sort of
it's
fire,
fire.
that doesn't go to the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 mana for 2 damage that has to be split up, I think. I think it can't go 2 to the same creature. But yeah, if you can play this and then kill 2 creatures, whew,
And even
that's
without
good
that
magic.
ability, this is still a fine card.
Yeah, exactly. You're happy to be playing this 3 mana, 3/2. I mean, it's probably killing 2 creatures no matter what because it has Menace and Death Touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have to block it with 2, and it has 3 power. So yeah, it's getting it. This I don't know what else to say about this. It's an aggressive card, and it's a hammering.
I think this one along more the lines of Judith is probably kind of a no-brainer. Like this card's clearly good if you want to attack and you're playing black mana.
Oh, and
Maybe
yeah,
like
like
Pestilent
You're
Spirit.
gonna
Yeah.
combine it with Judith, and it's
Yeah, there you go. Judith deals
you
damage
just
to
got
more
a
than
little,
one creature.
You just got a little pinger going on there.
Yeah. Best friends competing for the 3-drop slot in in Rakdos aggro. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would be happily run both of these in the 3-drop slot. Get in,
get
sleeve
in.
them up.
Yeah. I had one more I want to talk about. Sorry,
Yes.
back at the beginning of this spoiler chat, we were talking about Bant, Ramp, and Super Friends decks. And there's this one card that caught my eye. It's 3 generic and a green for an enchantment called Wilderness Reclamation.
Yes.
It says at the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. So this is maybe like a poor man's Teferi, but you get all the mana, and you can play 2 or 3 of these in your decks maybe, and then if you get the second one, you can just cast a Nexus of Fate after the first trigger resolves, and then untap, and then cast another Nexus of Fate.
Also, Addendum.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to bring it up.
The
Yeah,
Simic people are going to be stealing all the Addendum cards.
yeah.
Right?
So maybe this is more of a draft level card because for the power level, 4 mana enchantment,
This is
doesn't
such
do
a
anything
weird
right away.
card.
I don't know if it's actually a good card, but it's kind of an exciting card, especially with
It doesn't make sense that it's a Gruul card, but sure, like I'll take it.
No, I think it's a Nazorius card.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's
like
what's
it's a
so
banned
weird to
card.
me.
Yeah.
It's Domri's flavor text on there.
Yeah.
But
And-
I don't see Gruul needing untapped mana on our turn.
No.
On their turn.
Yeah, like, what are you going to do? Trumpet Blast? Right, like,
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see some flash creatures that you want to play in Gruul eventually.
Give me a flash. Give me an ambush viper or something like
Yeah.
that. That'd be sweet.
But
I'll take it.
It's probably just that the art depicted some Gruul places, so they got the flavor text to depict Gruul as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is like kind of a cool card if you like playing Commander with the similar effects, like that. I forget what she's called, but she's like a 2/4 in green that untaps all your stuff at the end of each
Prophet
turn.
of
I think.
Krufix? Wasn't Prophet of Krufix Mega Banned?
No, there's another one though. There's another
Oh.
one that's like not as banned as or as busted as Prophet of Krufix. Some elf. I'm doing terrible at remembering card names right now. I'm sorry. But this is a popular commander card.
Seedborn
Yes.
Muse? Yes.
Seedborn Muse. This is kind of like another Seedborn Muse effect, right?
Yeah.
Similar. So if you want more of that kind of thing in your right.
Sorry,
Each other player's untap step, and it's all permanent. So it's not as good, but it's also not a creature, and it's 1 less mana.
I'm sorry, Ben.
Oh no, I got sidetracked because I remembered the one thing that I always love to do whenever a new set comes out is I like to look for the jank.
Okay.
So Simic Ascendancy is coming in a format. So let's talk about Simic Ascendancy real quick. This doesn't need to take up much time because we should probably talk about our spoilers.
Sure. Let's
Yeah.
One more card.
So green and a blue for an enchantment. This is the Firemind's Insight for Simic. It's 1 green and a blue to put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on a creature you control, put that many growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Simic Ascendancy has 20 or more growth counters, you win. It's an alt-win con, and I love alt-win con cards. But this card is especially interesting in a format that has Explore to me.
Ooh, yeah.
So I don't know how many fast little dealies you can put, and it's also weird. It's also tough because like there is a non-zero amount of just like grab a permanent like exile effects and stuff like that. So I probably won't make it, but I like the idea of everybody's fighting and whatnot, and then Simic's over here, just making Nemesis.
A giant thing.
Like they're like, well, you guys, you fought a bunch, but we also made the perfect being, so we win. Like umbrella corporations just in the darkness, creating like the
their
ultimate
logo's red,
nemesis.
but you never really thought of Umbrella Corporation as blue green.
I wonder if there's like a modern combo with this too. Like whenever
Hardened
one or more,
scales?
I forget how this rule actually works. I think whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature you control, includes just like casting a creature and then having it resolve. That's all +1/+1 counters, like the graft creatures. Like with that would trigger. It would just trigger once though, because it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's not counting how many. So you want
Well,
like.
it says put that many.
Oh, it is that many. Right,
So
sorry,
it's like
just
if it
one
comes in with
trigger.
5,
it's one
that's
trigger,
5
but
growth
then if you
counters.
play Hat Rack, Vigian Hydropon is the card I'm thinking of, put that many growth counters on Simic Ascendancy, so you only need to like play this and then cast Vigian Hydropon 4 times.
Or the sweet new jellyfish Hydra Beast.
Sure, yeah, more jank.
Yep.
This card's exciting if you are playing like some sort of ramp that includes...
I'm playing a
Blue
playset of
green.
these.
Yeah?
Because it's the initial thing is on cast.
Yeah.
It doesn't even care if this thing
guarantee-
resolves.
Yeah, you guarantee
Yeah.
the cards in life,
Yeah.
but you have to pay such a premium for them,
Oh,
right?
probably. But yeah, I don't know, like
Although, like...
I love Gruul, but
Looking
Simic
at
is so exciting.
Like,
here.
how does this card stack up against Explosion? Because you have to the initial pay for Explosion is blue, blue, red, red, and then just 1 X. So, like, to draw 4 cards with Explosion, you pay 8. To draw 4 cards with Hydroid Crisis, you pay 10, right?
Yeah.
But you get a Flying Trample instead of damage.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to play this on your main phase, but maybe that's fine. You gain life instead of... You gain life as well, right? As opposed to, like, dealing damage.
And I also think the green deck will have access to a lot more mana than the
Sure.
Izzet deck for Explosion.
But they both have different flexible aspects, whereas you can cast Hydroid Crisis for as little as 4, or 3, really. You can cast for as little as 3 if you want to. You
still
have
get 1.
expansion on the Izzet side. So, yeah, I don't know.
Why not just a 3-drop flample with that's a 1/1 that you gain 1 life and draw a card. That just seems
No,
like,
you get 0. You have to pay
Yeah.
4 if you
Oh,
want
it
to
has to
draw a
round
card.
down.
It has to round
Right.
down.
So I
Yeah.
guess 0 is a number that
So I think this card is like very fair. But yeah, play a playset of them.
Yeah.
Crunch some fools.
So,
Let's talk about our spoiler.
final thing, let's
Yeah.
talk about our spoiler card, Gutterbones.
Gutterbones.
So this spoiler should have gone up last week by the time you're seeing this. Gutterbones is a 1 black skeleton warrior. You get a 2/1. It has several lines of text. Gutterbones enters the battlefield tapped, as is tradition with a lot of the...
Use 1-drop 2/1s.
Aggressive, black creatures.
For 1 and a black, return Gutterbones from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only during your turn and only if an opponent lost life this turn.
So it's
So
a
it's like
spectacle.
spectacle.
Yeah.
Put it back in your
Yeah.
hand for 2.
And I was thinking about this as maybe, okay, this might have a role in some kind of like black aggressive strategy, green-black aggressive strategy.
yeah, this is we love seeing these in the mono black Highlander game, especially.
Is there
more 1 black mana 2/1s?
because this comes back to your hand instead of the battlefield, is there some nonsense you can do with discard outlets?
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
so. That
Dredge into this, you
Yeah.
know, like
I'm not sure if there's some card that lets you discard a card to make 2 black mana. But what does Waste Not do whenever you discard a creature card? Does
so
it make a
you make a
2/2?
zombie. Yeah.
Right. Okay. You
But
get
it's
mana.
only your.
Or is it when your opponents discard cards? Oh, it doesn't
only.
count you discarding
Yeah.
cards,
Yeah.
right?
Like
That
I was
card would be
thinking
really
of
good.
something
Yeah,
like
sorry.
not this card obviously because it's bad, but what was the one from Odyssey, the enchantment that where you discarded 2 cards and you made a zombie?
Oh, it's called
Is it just zombie infestation?
Zombie
Infestation,
Infestation.
right?
Yeah.
Like, is there an analog to that around that doesn't suck?
No, I mean Zombie Infestation is like it's actually decent. Like there's some combos
Well,
because
you
you
do
don't
it
have to
with
pay
hidden
mana.
with
Yeah,
Treasure
there's Treasure
Hunt.
Hunt is like a modern deck or whatever.
And
deck.
there is the Gruul that you play with that one, right? Where it's like a 4/2 from a core set that you can get back from your graveyard to your hand.
Oh, right. You just pay mana or something to get
Yeah.
it back. So, yeah, it sounds like what we've come up with on TTC, at least, is there's some fair but kind of cool stuff you can do with Gutterbones, maybe.
Yeah, so in Standard, like this card of the exact same basically effect saw a bunch of play with, what was it, Dread Wanderer.
Right.
So in Amonkhet.
But was Dread Wanderer, is it 3 to come back?
It's 3 to come back to the
Right.
battlefield.
Right, yeah.
So
it's
it
the same
is
kind of thing.
effectively the same sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Right, yeah.
They have a chance to counterspell it, maybe.
But this card saw a ton of play.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting that Death Baron is still going to be in Standard.
That's right.
Around this time, so Death Baron does hit Skeletons.
Yeah, maybe
right.
there'll be mono black skeleton aggro.
It could be cool. There's still the. I mean, if you are like, I mean, obviously it's not a zombie, or is it? It's not a zombie. It's a.
It's a skeleton
Yeah.
warrior. Yeah.
But there is the Lily that's Zombie Matters Lily in Standard right now. So if you are just going like a skeleton zombies.
Yeah, and the
style
Death Baron pumps both, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Pumps
It's
zombies
zombies and skeletons get +1/+1.
So maybe
in
tribal
death touch.
undead aggro in black and standard, maybe? That'd be cool.
But yeah, cards like this, I think always see a lot of play in this, like, and especially too with things like Golgari and whatnot going around. You know, you play your Stitcher's Apprentice or whatever, and you put this straight into the bin.
Yeah,
Seems
and then you
like,
get value out of it later.
Yeah. So
If there is a combo with this, though, let us know in the YouTube comments, because Cameron's got me curious now.
Yeah. Now because I'm positive
We're
that
just
I
gatherer searching. Yeah.
that I have been discarding things for value recently, and I have no idea what.
yeah. But yeah, I think this set's gonna be really goofy. We're not. There's so many things to talk about. Check out High Alert. I think that enchantment is goofy as hell.
Yeah.
It's the basically makes butt cards able to fight and whatnot in Azorius. It's weird, but like sweet.
Oh, right, yeah.
Make your Arcades deck dream come to life. But this set seems sweet so far. I'm so incredibly excited.
Charnel Troll was
Okay.
one that I was discarding to a lot over the weekend. That's what I was thinking
yeah,
of.
you can
It's not great because ultimately you want to like discard a card and then
then
exile
exile
it to
it,
Charnel Troll. But that was the one I was thinking of. I'm just wondering if there's anything else in Golgari that really is excited about this guy.
Well, there's a whole bunch of cards in standard that put,
Yeah, like-
there's Surveil that puts stuff into your graveyard. So, like, there's that.
Yep.
Yeah.
This card just seems fine.
Yeah, I mean,
excited.
I'm intrigued
solid.
by it. Crawl Swarm, no, that's terrible. But there are things. There are discard outlets in Standard. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for our spoiler excitement podcast. So
We're excited.
thank you very much to you, the kind supporters over at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun for your direct support of our website and all of this content and these humans that you see before you, including Paul and Heather, who is not here, but who edits and uploads the podcast. So many thanks to her. Also, many thanks to the kind people over at cardkingdom.com/LRR for their just generous support of our nonsense here. They saw this and were like, yeah, this is the content we want. So
We're still not sure why.
yeah, if you want Magic singles online, hot singles in your area, go to cardkingdom.com/LRR and order them there. They'll ship them to you globally, whether or not they're in your area or not. That's what global shipment. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, from me, Cameron,
Me, Ben.
And me, Nelson.
thank you very much for tuning in to Tap Tap Conceit today.
Bye.
Later.